Hey everybody, welcome to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. We got a two-man crew tonight. Glenn is out with girlfriend duty, so it's myself and Mr. Matt Morgan. Matt, how are you doing today? Tonight?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Just want to give a shout out. Happy birthday, Mrs. Rubenstein.
Yeah.
Glenn never misses a show, so obviously, it's his birthday, kind of a big deal. But you know what I was thinking? I was thinking to myself, Glenn is like super hyper, probably responsible, but super hyper lockdown right now in his house, not really getting out and doing much. So I really am superly interested in what Glenn had planned for the misses when I know they're not going out anywhere.
Right.
There's no way. Glenn washes down his groceries and shit.
Right.
Still, when they get delivered. So I'm wondering what creative juices Glenn's got going. I wonder if it's a blue. He would totally say this about us, by the way. I wonder if Glenn's got a Blue Chew night planned for the misses.
I'm sure.
I mean, really,
yeah.
What really is there to do inside the house that really can't do? I'm predicting he'll cook. I am predicting he'll cook for the misses.
I could see Cook watching some obscure movie. Yeah, yeah, and then the Blue Chew. Then it's Blue Chew time.
Yeah,
it's better. It's better than 3 hours of Raw. I mean, Raw tonight. It was. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff on here, but the 3 hours and then the bad segments, it just makes it so hard to watch.
Yeah, if there was, I know they owe a certain amount of at 3 hours every week, but I was hoping this pandemic would have shown them the importance of keeping it to 2 hours and what a benefit that could do. Because, okay, when SmackDown sucks, it sucks a hell of a lot less than Raw does when Raw sucks.
Right.
Raw sucks.
That extra hour it just adds so much extra I mean, it feels like 6 hours, like 5 or 6 hours.
And Raj, I didn't want to text you earlier. Like, folks at home watching, I'm sorry, this is uneven. I very rarely will text Raj in the middle of Raw. And when I do, it's usually because something cool happened or something big happened. And we try to save it for the show. But, like, I shot him like 2 messages of this is just torture. The show is now becoming torture to watch. And I had high hopes. I don't want to say any of that negative stuff. So many ex-wrestlers, I used to hate it when I wrestled, when I'd see them cover these shows, and they would just bury it. I'm like, this grizzled old vet, get off the damn networks. Quit burying younger talents. But to be fair, now I'm in that. I feel like I'm in that phase. So I never want to come across that way. I wanted to come into this, be excited to talk about, look at all these cool new things WWE is doing with this pandemic, using it to their advantage, to use higher production quality value and different outside the box ideas maybe that they got pushed into now. And it's just like, I don't see any of that.
No. The shows have been basically looking the same since the second week. The only thing they've really changed is where the hard cam is. And I don't. It's not a WWE versus AEW thing, but at least AEW, you see them trying the video vignettes and putting some people in the crowd. And WWE can do it. They're in Florida, so they can add some people to the crowd and just try to get some noise, because that empty arena just sounds so bad.
My question is, why are they not doing music for every match? I thought the music wasn't terrible at Money in the Bank, for instance. Like, I thought that made it slightly less bad.
Yeah, I mean, they try to have the music go with it, and Money in the Bank was taped weeks ago, and they put it together. So I guess they could, if they did like a generic soundtrack. But I think just adding those fans, I thought on Dynamite it made a world of difference, because the week that Dynamite had no fans at all, that was brutal as well. And then
I used to argue with you, and I'll never do it again, that I didn't care if there's a hot crowd. Right. Like, it didn't make a difference to me watching the show at home of the match that would be going on, right? A versus B in the middle of a match. I'm just super, like, glued into the match, the psychology, the storytelling. And if the fans are in it, great. If they're not, I'm not turned off by it either. Right. And you always just be like, no, dude, no, it makes a world of a difference with a hot crowd. It adds to it and whatnot. And to a degree, I would agree with NXT shows, it did, because they pop for everything, and I kind of like that. But, like, now without them, it is like night and day. And the difference is, it's not AEW versus WWE thing. It's just AEW, besides having fans there, which adds to it, they also changed the aesthetic of their show. If you watch how they time it out, right?
Yeah.
They don't do too much of the same thing that we're looking at the whole entire time from that hard camera shot. They shoot their backstage stuff. It's not really backstage. They'll give a different vignette that will pop in there right after that match, and different things, Jake Roberts things in the middle of bumfuck Woods wrestling, or crazy stuff out of nowhere, with Darby Allin or whatever. It gives a different feel to the show.
Yeah.
At all times, it feels like every segment feels different.
Yeah.
Whereas this all feels the same.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think also the commentary, we started this, so on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're doing these Saturday nights main event watch-alongs. And we just did the first one last week. We're going to do it again this week, Justin Brasso, Sports Illustrated. And we'd love to have you on sometime too, Matt. But
what did you cover? Which one?
So we're starting in 1987. So it was the January 87 where it was Hogan versus Mr. Wonderful in the steel cage, where they landed at the same time.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, so we're going in order, basically 87, 88, and probably stop in 89. But the commentary was so good on those shows that you could just listen to the commentary with Vince and Jesse, and that you don't have to watch the match. They were so good; it was so entertaining, and Howard Finkel doing the ring announcing. And you just miss all those aspects that brought the show together that really made the whole thing entertaining. And I'd like to see them try different things with commentary. Get some people out there that can, really turn it up.
Did you hear Cole's commentary on the Money in the what's it called? Money in the what's it called?
Yeah, and the ladder match.
Yeah, at the very end, it was like, "And you're a winner,"
and that's it.
It was so anticlimactic. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be announcing the winners. Okay, I get Otis is a joke, so okay, fine. But Asuka winning it shows some crescendo. Like, yeah, Asuka is your winner.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, they turned off the commentary. They had commentary right at the beginning and then back at the very end. But it was just like to introduce and then just to say goodbye and not sell what you just saw.
It was a pre-tape on top of it. That means, again, Justin pointed this out, and he's right. Somebody saw that and said, okay, we'll stick with this.
Yeah.
No. Somebody said, Cole, drink something, do something, pep up a little bit.
Yeah. Put Shane and Triple H out there and just have them kind of going at it and taking shots at each other.
What made you think of Shane? That's actually would have been good.
Well, I was just thinking of Vince and like who else is like Vince, and then I was thinking Triple H is good, and then if you had Shane, you'd have that interesting dynamic.
Shane used to be really good back in the day during the Attitude Era when he used to join in Cornette and Jim Ross on the commentary every once in a while. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
He'd be much better now too.
Yeah, absolutely. So the big news tonight, Becky Lynch came out to open the show. It came out earlier today that she has a big announcement. She hasn't been in action since WrestleMania, which was taped at the end of March. She came out and said that she has to relinquish the title. She was emotional, and she said that she spoke with WWE representatives, and basically the Money in the Bank match this past last night, geez, it feels like a while ago, would be for the Raw Women's title. She took it out. Asuka came out, presented it to Asuka. I'm a big Asuka fan, but then she starts jumping around. Becky's in there emotional. This is a serious moment. And then Asuka starts jumping around and then jumping on the announcer's desk. And this seemed like one of those points in time where you don't do that. Like Roman's leukemia announcement, you don't have a 24/7 title segment during that. It's serious.
Right.
Either save Asuka for later, just have Becky relinquish it, and then you announce what you're doing with the title later. But having that, I just felt like there was a disconnect.
Tell the folks at home why she relinquished it.
So Asuka was celebrating, came back, and Becky said, "You go be the warrior. I'm happy for you. I'm going to go be the mother." So Becky is pregnant, Becky and Seth. And they did congratulations to the both of them. They found out earlier in April. They took a couple of tests, and that came out negative. Then they tried a digital one. That one came out positive. They found out about it, and, they're super excited. The baby is due in December.
That's outstanding. And during a time like this where I can't even fathom how scared they must be with the virus out there. You know what I mean? Good Lord. But what a silver lining in all of this, right? That's real life shit. And I'm looking forward to messaging her about this. This is, I found it's like the rest of everybody did here.
Yeah.
I mean, her entire world's going to change. His world's going to change. You know, you're a dad.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I'm excited for them.
Yeah. When they showed him later in the show when he was all just strung out, I was like, that's what he'll be like 3 weeks after he has the baby.
The good news is that dude is paid, and I'm sure she is too. So
yeah,
they're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, Justin Lopez talking about the Money in the Bank commentary, saying Cole sounded like he was doing a video game voiceover. Same with Steph when she was speaking to Dana; she sounded so monotone. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this dialogue isn't jiving.
And they, to that fan's point, the super chat's point there, Stephanie was obviously using her camera phone. It was shot somewhere else. You could tell that too. And it just didn't connect. It was lazy.
Yeah. So Asuka is now your women's champion. And yeah, again, big congrats to Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. Very cool.
And I'm happy about Asuka being champion for what it's worth. I'm not happy that she was like tap dancing and jumping all over the place. That's her character, crazy character at the moment. But still, this is no, it would have been a nice touch. Everybody coming out and congratulating Beck.
Yeah. They like have everyone, heels and baby faces, because she has been the top star. I mean, she has really stepped up more than anyone else over the last couple of years as far as rising, going up and beyond. So yeah, I agree. That would have been a cool moment. Yeah. But regardless, they went to the back, and then Becky was congratulated again in the back. They had a bunch of the baby faces come up and congratulate her.
Which is cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Up next, a no DQ match between Bobby Lashley and Humberto Carrillo. I think we all kind of knew where this was headed. The finish saw Lashley put on the full Nelson on Carrillo and take him out. So they're clearly giving Lashley a big push here.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. He's a monster.
Yeah, and we'll get to it later, but it looks like they're aligning him with MVP too. So that could be money. I think Lashley.
Work together in TNA. They work together in TNA.
Yeah, the Beatdown Clan. So
right.
Yeah, that could be cool. Next, we went to the Street Profits backstage talking about the Viking Raiders, and they're going to have a 2-on-2 basketball game later tonight. And
what was that about?
I don't know if they're playing off the Last Dance or.
You know what? I sadly enough could see that. Actually, I could see out of touch writer saying, "You know what's cool and edgy right now? The Michael Jordan Last Dance is showing ESPN. It's the highest rated show ever." I could see that actually. Sadly enough.
They should have put some lines from the documentary in. Like, remember the guy on the last one who said, or Michael Jordan said that he said, "Nice game, Mike," and that really ticked him off.
Yeah.
So if they had the Street Profits say "Nice game, Ivar," and then Ivar just starts going nuts, that would have been
loses it. Yeah.
But
Bradford Smith.
Yes, yeah.
Scrub out of nowhere who lit Jordan up for what it's worth for 37 points. Holy crap.
Right, yeah. That documentary is so good. And same as the Undertaker one. So there's a lot of good documentaries out there.
Two things I never thought we would see. We had the best childhood. I haven't been on the show with you in a while, Raj, but I've been saying this over and over. We had the best childhood, bar none, of athletes and entertainers and just the best of the best. We had Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Undertaker,
Mike Tyson,
Hulk Hogan, Mike Tyson. There you go. Yeah. We had the best of the best we got to see, man. And so I think it's so cool that now we get to see, the younger fans get to see our idols. So Michael Jordan and then Undertaker for wrestling. And they can see all this background stuff on them I never thought we would see, especially Taker's stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of people who probably don't get how big Michael Jordan was, you watch this and you get it. Because LeBron James is huge, but no one was that big as a Jordan or Michael Jackson.
Yes.
So anyway, we had the basketball game coming up later. Then we went to Angel Garza versus Akira Tozawa. So backstage they had Zelina Vega, Andrade, Austin Theory, and Angel Garza all arguing. So they're kind of already splitting this group up, it seems like. They never
It
really.
felt like a village people to me anyway. It felt like too many different people. I like the two of them together though.
Angel and
Yeah.
Andrade.
Yes. I like those two together. I don't
Yeah,
like Austin Theory with them.
I think getting beat right off the bat constantly and just looking super weak with Drew, which I actually don't mind because I like that they're making Drew look superhuman. They haven't done that in a while. They haven't done
Yes.
that since Brock, really. So it's or since Braun as well. So I like that they're doing that with Drew.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had Angel Garza versus Akira Tozawa. Angel beat him, dropped Tozawa with the wing clipper. A lot of people are bringing out that Akira Tozawa is in the cruiserweight tournament that they're doing. That's like the G1, and he's getting a bunch of wins. So he's in that tournament, but he's treated like enhancement talent on Raw.
Okay. And
They're saying it makes the title look bad, but it's not like that's been drawing anyway.
I didn't know that title meant something.
Well, it doesn't. So anyway, after the match, they start arguing again. Zelina Vega gets involved. Drew McIntyre comes out for whatever reason. I guess just being a bully. And then he just kicks the crap out of Garza and Theory. He delivers a Claymore kick to Theory, and then Angel Garza, and then it's down to him and Andrade, and then they decide to have a match. So that led to Drew versus Andrade, non-title champion versus champion. You know, non-title is one of those banned WWE terms. You can't say non-title anymore. Actually, it's been like that for 5 years. Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So on all these matches, they can't say it's non-title, and so like later on, what's that?
What do they say instead of non-title?
Nothing. So you don't know.
Why? Why is that a thing? How did that enter into Vince McMahon's head of the newest ism that he's going to start like mandating? Do you know what I mean? Like, what day did he show up and say, you know what? From now on, we'll never say these are non-title matches, and just confuse fans?
Remind me to send you that list that they have of the stuff you can't say. You can't say Granddaddy of them all for WrestleMania because it seems old. You can't say. You can't say. I don't think you could say title change. There's a bunch of like little ones like that. It's like you can't say title change. It's changing the title, or I don't know if that's exactly one of them. But there's like just pages and pages of stuff you can't say. But non-title is one of them.
Well, then what? We're supposed to. So say my wife walked in the room, didn't understand what was happening, and saw these two champions facing off. She's not like that's misleading.
Well, it's even worse later when you have the Iconics who beat the champions and they never said it. So Samoa Joe thought the Iconics won the titles after that match was over. So yeah, so they can say title is not on the line, I guess, but they can't say non-title. Or I don't even know. They haven't been saying that either. So I'll have to double check on that. I know for sure non-title is a banned phrase. So anyways, we went to Drew versus Andrade. Kind of what you would expect. Drew hit reverse Alabama slam. Waited for Andrade to get up. Nailed the Claymore. Drew covered him for the win. Drew gets the win. So making Drew look strong.
That? He looked like a beast, and he should be.
Yeah.
He looks like $1 million. I love where he's at right now. Although I did not like the handshake stuff.
Right.
The other night, by the way, I just want to point that out. Money in the Bank. Do they call it reverse Alabama sign? By the way,
I don't think they did on commentary, but that's pretty much what it was, right?
That is what it is. I never really picked up on that until you just said that. That is what it technically is. Yeah. Before you move on, do we have any super chatters?
Super chatters. We had the one earlier, and that's it so far. Oh, we just got one. Antoine Fair said one of the Iconics said, "Don't put the titles up." Why would they say that?
Huh.
I didn't catch it, but I don't get why they would. Why would they not want the titles on the line?
I got to go back and watch that, Antoine. Good call though. If you caught that, I missed it.
All right, so afterwards. So Drew won that match. Still to come, Edge and Randy Orton are here, plus the Vikings versus the Street Profits in a 2-on-2 basketball game. Oh, I forgot. After the match, Drew cut a promo he said that they're doing a brand to brand invitation, and so he says next week he's challenging, or he's facing Baron Corbin. So Baron Corbin's going to be on Raw next week. Charlotte Flair is going to be on NXT. So they did this thing now where they're loosening the brand split. So I guess Fox and USA Network requested that they start interchanging the stars, especially now.
See?
You got.
Dude, I said this last night, and I got shut down by Justin and Glenn that I'm wrong, or that I'm stupid, one of the two, when I said that they're going to get rid of this brand extension. And they're like, well, Fox has a certain amount of stars on that show that they definitely want to have. I'm like, they're going to get both. Don't you see? They're going to get all the stars on USA. They're going to be able to use any star they want on Fox now. What do you mean? That's a good thing for those networks. And the ratings are in the shitter. They're going to need to do this, and I think it's a good idea. I'm sorry.
Yeah, especially now you got Brock gone, you got Roman gone, now Becky. Your three biggest stars. So,
great point. Yes. Yeah. And I know for younger talent, Raj, and the mid-card talents that we try to root for and whatnot, that's all well and good. I'm sorry. They're the ones that suffer the most. I'm sorry. I'm sick of it. There's top stars that I want to see more of. I want to see more from Braun. I want to see more from Bray Wyatt. I want to see more from some of these other talents that I want to see them twice a week. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. And because you can only see Drew destroy, Andrade and his crew so many times before it's super redundant. Terry Allen with the $5 super chat saying, twice on Sunday, Dana Brooke was booked to be embarrassing, very unfair. She does contain desire to be champion and seems Vince won't allow it. The one thing I thought with Money in the Bank is the whole thing was just for comedy, and that's why it didn't work for me. Like, it was just all supposed to be a joke.
It was. I actually, for what it's worth, hook, line, and sinker, thought Dana Brooke was getting a cool little rub there, because I thought there was a new thing in the match I wasn't aware of.
Right.
That you can get, that there was, if you want to stop off and get this money briefcase that legit has like $1 million in it or something.
Right.
That's what she was doing. So I was like, oh, that's pretty creative. Good for WWE, giving another caveat in this match. If you wanted to eliminate yourself but go for this briefcase full of real legit shoot money, you could. And I thought that's what she was doing. And I was like, oh, oops.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, I agree. I thought Dana kind of stood out more because of that, when you think of the people in that match. The one thing, again, the McMahons, they can't help themselves. They make the wrestlers seem like school children, like Stephanie telling her to clean up Nia Jax's drool, and Vince with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. You wouldn't be doing that with Taker or Austin or guys they see as the larger than life stars.
No, I've been watching some old Attitude stuff. He was doing that with Kurt Angle. Right. When Kurt Angle was champion, actually. Mm-hmm. There was a match that Vince lost. He had to kiss The Rock's ass. Yeah. And he went ham because he was tag partners with Kurt that night, and Kurt lost it for him. Yeah. And Kurt was begging off of Vince, and Vince was digging into him. It's just your fault. You should be doing it. And digging into him. And then backstage in the promo segments, he would do it to Rock and the rest of them, but he was doing it to Kurt. So I wonder if it started then. Yeah. With this demeaning stuff of him thinking he can get over on his own talent like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I never ever thought it would happen in that era. Yeah,
but back then back then he'd get over on, because Kurt wasn't at the level of Austin yet.
He was a champion.
No one ever got.
He was a champion, but he wasn't. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't like Austin-esque, no, but he was a world champion.
Yeah,
and he was in a comedy of character too, so it worked. Maybe is why.
Well, you remember they did that to Jericho with Stephanie McMahon when he first won the title, and it didn't work at all. Like, it made him look like a mid-carder.
It did. Yeah. Yes, that's a good call, actually. Yeah.
Tammy pointing out the Money in the Bank. It was a comedy match. They all look foolish. Yeah, it wasn't like.
Yeah, Tammy's right.
I mean, I like that Asuka one, but it didn't feel like you saw, something
spectacular.
Right.
It wasn't. It was a mad dash, go chase, capture the flag.
Right. Back from break, we had MVP. First, we saw Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and then we saw MVP praising Bobby Lashley backstage. He's asking Lashley why he's fighting people like Humberto Carrillo, pointing out that Lashley hasn't gotten a world title match since 2007, which is crazy when you think about it.
What?
Yeah,
No,
in
I would
WWE,
never
obviously.
guess that.
And he said he's been there so long,
Wow.
and he's in the same spot. So basically,
Bro, when you put it like that, it makes it sound like he's been here for 13 years. If you're like a young kid, this guy's been here for 13 years and hasn't had a world championship opportunity. Wow.
I think the last time was probably with John Cena, and that would have been 2007. So yeah,
That is crazy.
so yeah, MVP basically inviting him. Then he saw Lana, and he said if Lashley is looking for a way out, come find him. And then Lana just started this horrible screaming, which Lana is a trained actress and she's a good actress, but this is the material
This
they're giving
wasn't
her,
good.
and it was brutal.
No, it wasn't good at all.
It's embarrassing, like embarrassingly bad.
Yep.
And speaking of which, then we went to a moment of bliss. They talked about Becky Lynch's pregnancy and Mother's Day, and then they welcomed their guests, the Iconics. And they started, and this was the Iconics' first match back in a year.
Which I was excited for because I'm a big fan of theirs.
Yeah, I mean they got charisma. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Alexa Bliss is a great heel. She needs to turn on Nikki fast.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, because I just feel like she's running in place right now.
She was the first woman to win both SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's right.
She really was. Did I know that? I was at Walgreens the other night and I saw her action figure set there. I grabbed the box and turned it around and read like the bio stuff. I was like, I didn't know that. And I was like, why is she? And in my head, I go, why the hell is she tagging with this other lady girl right now? What the hell? She needs to dump her.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Justin Lopez, he's pointing out, it was Cena versus Lashley at the Great American Bash in 2007. Wow. That's just wild.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. And Antoine saying, and this is a good point. Antoine Ferris with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Antoine. He's saying, my wife came in at the Lana stuff and said they were trying to make her the new Vicky.
Huh. You know what's crazy, Antoine? I feel like I know Antoine. He always chimes in. Antoine, our wives and like people that don't watch the show like we all do, they're good gauges, in my opinion. They make the most excellent gauges of what it works, what is like super embarrassing, like what Raj was alluding to earlier, and whatnot. Of my opinion, what is good about wrestling and what is just rotten. You know what I mean? Look to your wives, you guys that are watching the show. Look to your husbands and see what their opinions are if they don't watch wrestling normally. It's a pretty good gauge for like what is really shitty.
That is true. That's why I can't watch most of it.
Yeah, man.
Leonza Duncan, thank you for the $10 super chat, saying she's all in with the Lashley MVP BDC, pointing out that the Beatdown Crew was Bobby's best run, and you could legitimize him and revisit him and Drew's TNA feud. Absolutely.
Yes, actually. Add Cruz, Ricochet. It's okay. Yo, I love that, actually. I'll take that. You see who he adds in here? He adds Cruz, Ricochet, and Cedric. People will bring up about their similarity, but it makes sense. I mean, no. It gives them something to do, right? Be part of.
I would say add one or two of them. You don't want to add too many underneath guys at one time. Then you see what happened with Angel Garza's group, right? You know, they immediately start getting treated like...
They didn't have a Bobby Lashley.
No, but remember when you had Kurt Angle and, Edge had Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder? When you just add guys that aren't quite there yet, they're treated that way, and then the group never really gets over.
But can I give you one example, though, where it did work in that same Edge group? They also had Vicky and Chavo. It brought Chavo up. It brought Chavo up so much that he became the ECW champion. And it was actually credible that he was the champion at the time. Swear to God.
Chavo was in that group?
Swear to Christ. Yes. Not at first. It blossomed into that when Vicky and Edge started becoming a thing. And then Chavo got into it and he had a bodyguard at the time. I forget the guy's name. He was there for like 2 minutes. 6'8" guy. He got released. But Chavo, I swear, went on to be ECW champion. But you're right. For like Edge and Hawkins, it didn't do much for them. But I don't know. I think maybe two of those guys. I really wanted them to do something with Cruz. I love Cruz and I love Ricochet.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see them get something that they could sink their teeth into, character-wise.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Steve Marchicelli saying Bryan versus Black for SmackDown invite. Yeah, I
What does
mean,
that mean? What does that mean? Invite?
so that brand to brand invitational. So having Aleister
Oh,
Black invite Daniel Bryan. So it's kind of like the wild card rule, except it's an invitation, so you can invite
dude, that'd
someone
be
for the other
awesome.
brand.
That match, hell yeah, I pay to see that match and give them time. Give them like 15 minutes, 20
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. The roster has felt so thin. This really, deepens it by opening it up. But yeah. Anyway, we went to the Iconics versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross.
Mhm.
Iconics got the win. I mentioned earlier Samoa Joe thought they won the tag team titles, the women's tag team titles, but they didn't. So Iconics are going to be getting a title match next week.
Yeah, I just, again, Alexa Bliss is a much bigger deal than what she's been currently reserved to be doing for these last year or so. And everyone says, well, because she can't wrestle a full match potentially because of her concussions history or injury history or whatever the story is. So if that's the case, then that's different. But if it's not, I'd love to see her get back to her old ways because she was a heater. But we don't have any fans in the arena right now. So
Right.
it's so damn tough to be a true leader without the fans to play off of. I don't know.
Tyrant Justice saying 5-man groups only work if 2 or 3 of them have championships. Yeah, if you had Ricochet and Cedric win the tag titles and put them in there,
Yes,
yeah, that could be something.
it's a fair point. Good point.
And turn them heel because they're not doing anything right now as baby faces.
No,
Charlie Caruso is backstage with Rey Mysterio. He's feeling great after being thrown off the. They made it clear he wasn't thrown off the roof. He was thrown. He was thrown to a secondary roof. Him and Aleister Black both. They basically explained all this. Ray came out. I mean, Seth Rollins came out. Ray congratulated Seth for being a father and saying how it genuinely changes your life. He's happy for Rollins and Becky Lynch. Rollins just had this weird gaze, walked away, and Ray said, "What a dick," dropping the dick word on Raw, which you usually don't hear.
yeah. That was funny. That was good.
Yeah. Um, so we saw MVP Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne versus Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and R-Truth. R-Truth did this backstage segment where he put the fake teeth in. It was pretty Ricky. A lot of R-Truth stuff works for me. This doesn't. This was one of those wife walking in things.
Yes, yes, it was. It most certainly was.
So he did the cross-eyed, jacked up teeth. So anyway, he was doing the pretty Ricky gimmick, and they got the win in this match. R-Truth, Cedric Alexander, and Ricochet beating MVP Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne after Truth hit the lie detector on MVP for the win.
There you go.
After the
This hurts MVP, by the way. Well, what are they doing? If he's supposed to be having his own stable, I don't like him losing. I know he shouldn't be winning either. Don't let him wrestle. If he's going to be
yeah
a stable leader or whatever and be the voice and be the talker, then you can't be having him being punked out and losing matches either, in my opinion. It's a waste.
yeah. It's like Bobby Heenan. It would take something away if he was also an enhancement talent.
Wouldn't it?
So
Yeah.
yeah.
We used to pay so much money to see Hulk Hogan get him in a weasel outfit or whatever and
Right.
chase him around. But we wait a year for that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So what do we have next? After the match, R-Truth was standing tall, but Bobby Lashley came out, hit a big spear, destroyed R-Truth as MVP watched, and then he stood by as MVP leveled Truth with a running kick to the head. So MVP and Lashley, looks like they're doing it, so I'm all for that.
Good. Yes. Hell yes. And they got legitimate chemistry. That's the best part. I hope this opens Bobby up and he starts showing what we saw him be able to do in TNA. Bobby can be a very good heel. We know this. He's done it. He's proven it. WWE needs to get off his back, let him be Bobby, and the rest will take care of itself, I hope.
Yeah. Lonzo Smith pointing out that Ray and Alistair were thrown onto crash pads. Yeah, of course. that would suck
No,
if it was
Lonzo.
concrete.
I thought they were thrown out right on the I-95. And that's another reason why they had to play music, by the way. That Titan Tower is literally right on top of I-95.
Yeah.
It is so loud with traffic, you guys out there. It's crazy loud.
Well, the one thing right now is there's not much traffic. Speaking of which, Eddie Omeng is asking what they'll do for a Royal Rumble format. Well, hopefully we'll have crowds by then. But if not, I mean, there's easy ways you could do it. You could have it so there's never more than 10 people in the ring.
I'll just tell you what I'll do. I'll stooge it off when I get invited to be a surprise entrant this year. I'm gonna stooge it off to you guys.
All right, there we go. So when we break the story, we won't tell our source, but you guys will know. Charlie Caruso, who's just been looking fantastic, is backstage with Jinder Mahal. I mean, she looks like a superstar back there.
Yeah, she does.
Backstage with Jinder Mahal, welcoming him back. This kind of set up the seeds a little bit for Jinder and Drew, because Jinder bringing up that Drew is his old pal. He's WWE champion. Yeah. He was elated to watch Drew's success. And Jinder said he learned from his past mistakes and he's on his way back to the top. So he said his journey to the top this time will be a hero's journey, and walked off. So definitely planting the seeds there.
Yes, loved it.
Yeah. We saw AJ Styles. This was kind of random. He was sitting down with popcorn in the back to watch this look at The Undertaker's Last Ride special on the WWE Network. I went to Shayna Baszler, who's backstage with Charlie, Shayna was asked about Becky's pregnancy. Baszler wondered how stupid Becky was to get knocked up as champion. She said 10 out of 10 mothers will swear that pregnancy didn't ruin their careers. She goes on to say that Becky's throwing everything away to sit at home for a miserable parasite. And she said to imagine the man barefoot and fat sitting on the couch eating bonbons, and said that the kid is going to suck. And then went on to say, you know who the father is? I rest my case.
Dude, I'll give her credit, not her, whoever wrote it. This was good. This was great heat as far as being a jerk.
Yeah, she was
seriously, very unlikable, and very, oh my God, I can't believe that she said that. Do you know what I mean?
You know who she reminded me of tonight was Nelson Muntz from The Simpsons. The bully guy. Just like a total unredeemable prick.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, they did a special look at The Last Ride, which is fantastic. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. Chapter 1's already out. And at the end, AJ Styles, they show him not happy, throwing his popcorn and storming off. And I think that was the end of AJ for tonight. So,
great use of AJ there.
Right. Up next, we had Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. Seth Rollins came out just looking like he had been on a 5-day drinking binge, like not moving, just standing there. His hair is all jacked up. He looked like he didn't, oil up or anything. Just looked lazy out there. He wasn't tagging in, didn't do anything. So it was pretty much Murphy working the whole match against Mysterio and Black. At one point, Ray went for a 619 on Murphy, but Rollins catched him from the floor and then slammed Ray on the floor. And the referee called for the bell, which that makes no sense. Rollins was in the match.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so
anyway, I missed something.
Yeah, no, it was random. I have no idea why that was a DQ. So, but anyway, it was. And then afterwards, Rollins snapped and just started attacking Rey Mysterio. Hit a thumb to Rey Mysterio's eyes. The referee asked him to back up, but he kept going after the eye. It kind of pulled his mask up and was rubbing his eye on the stairs. So it looked like he was jabbing his eye on the staircase. It was really nasty looking. They had him juiced, so he was like bleeding from the eye. It looked gnarly. It was pretty violent.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was good though.
Yeah, it was very effective. It made Ray look hurt and Rollins look kind of crazy. So
can I just point one thing out for the fans real quick? The reason why Seth, he did a good job with this, it shows me he's maturing as a performer. He purposely came out and started all that match off, like Raj said, not calm, cool, collected, but disheveled almost, and looked like he wasn't really trying at times, looked like he wasn't exerting a lot of energy. And he did a very good job. That's a very mature move to do that veterans do, which you heard Taker talk in his documentary a little bit. about when it's time to really hit the gas pedal, you do. But he would stalk his opponent, and then blink of an eye, he would do something really cool and athletic, and then back to that slow pace. Not saying that's what Seth was doing, but I'm saying what Seth did a good job of was setting the table for that very grand finale, what he was going to do to Rey Mysterio by not wasting any energy or action like he normally does with his body language and how he's jibber jabbering on his way down to the ring and talking shit and whatever. He didn't waste it all tonight. You could tell, in my opinion, that was very well thought out.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad example, but it's kind of like how Festus used to be, where he's just catatonic, and then
yes,
yeah,
yes, but meaning it was done on purpose, which is super mature. I didn't have the maturity to do that when I was still doing it. He's very, very, very smart. I thought that was very well done.
I thought this was the most effective Seth Rollins segment since this Messiah thing started. Since WrestleMania.
Because I hate them. I'm not a fan of the Messiah thing. I was happy to see him do something different finally, but I haven't been digging it that much. But this tonight, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
I agree. I thought that was a really good segment. Back from break, they're showing Ray, backstage in the trainer's room. He's with Aleister Black. Seth Rollins and Murphy came up, and for whatever reason, Rollins went to apologize, and then Black went after Murphy and not Seth, who was the one that injured Ray's eye. So anyway, they were separated, but whatever.
It's little details like that, though. Like, why would you not? It takes 2 seconds. That takes 2 seconds to write for.
Yeah, you have him go after Seth, and Murphy cuts him off, and then,
Yes, simple.
Yeah.
Simple. And also, would really he go in there to apologize to him?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's his character now, or he just kind of goes crazy and then calms down, and I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
But good stuff before that.
Yeah.
Then we went to that video of the Street Profits warming up for their 2-on-2 game with the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders show up in their full Vikings gear, act like they don't know what basketball is. And then we go to commercial, come back, and they have their game. And you just see the Street Profits just destroying them. They threw a white man can't jump line. They won 74-2, I think.
It's nothing for nothing, though. Like, they got to get the Viking Warriors off my TV. I'm sorry. I don't like them. I hate saying that. That's so mean. It's dicky. I just don't like them. I don't like the characters. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting them in these comedy segments, but they're not funny. It's not like Otis, where Otis is actually funny. I don't think Otis should have won Money in the Bank, but he's funny. He's entertaining. Yeah. Anyway, so then we come back to the basketball game. It turns out the Viking Raiders knew how to play all along, and then they're just dunking and shooting, and they come back and say, "See, we're better than you guys at everything." And the Street Profits aren't thrilled. So this isn't the Road Warriors versus the Midnight Express. So Shayna Baszler keeping it up. Natalya approaches her, isn't happy with what Shayna said earlier. And then Baszler asks what Natalya knows about being a mother. She said, that the Hart dynasty will die with Natalya and she'll never have kids. So Shayna is just brutal tonight.
Dude, she is spitting. There's nothing but heat on everybody tonight.
I felt like today her promos were the most natural for her today.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, just uncomfortable, though, on top of it for us to watch, which is what you should be aiming for. I mean, she went right for the jugular tonight for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, because up until now, I always found her promos a little awkward.
Terrible.
And this was
terrible.
This was her best night, I think, on the main roster so far.
Definitely has been.
Yeah. So they went out. They had a quick match. Baszler went to break Natalya's arm, as she had been doing recently. Natalya tried to counter with the roll-up, came up short. Baszler nebbled Natalya with a knee strike for the pin to win. So, good win for Shayna. Good night for Shayna.
Yes. She needed to win this. They need to rebuild her. If she has more of these promos in her, you know what I mean? Right. Good, because she could be a very good heel if they do this right with her.
Yeah. Charlie was backstage with King Baron Corbin, who's talking about facing Drew McIntyre next week. He said that basically he's going to If McIntyre thinks the battle with Brock Lesnar made him, that's not the case. He says Drew rode his coattails on Raw for more than a year, watching him earn the crown. And Corbin said next week he'll prove why they call him the king. So,
yeah, dude, that shit. I love Baron Corbin as far as how much he's improved. He's another one that really needs the fans, live fans. You know, it's weird without him.
Yeah, when you're going for cheap heat and there's no reaction, it's like stand-up comedy, stand-up comedians telling that style and there's no crowd.
It makes me uncomfortable, not in a good way where I hate him kind of way, but I feel bad for him that he's being put in these predicaments way, which we don't ever want to. You don't ever want to put your fans in that predicament with your heels. You don't ever want them second guessing or ever at home even having sympathy for the heel because of the situation they're in.
Right. And again, how they did it with Shayna was much better. Not doing it in the, I just thought Shayna had the better promo than Corbin, but
no question. And I don't say that lightly because Corbin's promos are usually pretty solid.
Yeah.
And hers are usually in the shitter somewhere.
Right.
But tonight they were very good.
Yeah. Up next was the main event segment. Edge and Randy Orton returning to Raw for the first time since WrestleMania. Charlie Caruso's in the ring, calls Edge in. Edge noted that the promo last week on Raw said that he was going to be on Raw to hunt Randy Orton down. He said that's not the case. He said he's done with Randy Orton. That last man standing match was it. He came back to retire on his own terms, but that WrestleMania is not the end for Edge. So teasing he's going to do something else. Then Randy Orton's music hit. Orton came out, first congratulated Edge, said he was the better man, started to leave, then walked back in, said Edge was better that night in that street fight. He was better in the Royal Rumble when he had 29 other guys behind him. But one-on-one in a straight wrestling match, Edge couldn't beat him. So he challenged Edge to a match. Edge was pretty much silent this whole point. Never gave an answer, so it ended with Edge just kind of looking off, not accepting the challenge. And I thought Edge, his acting ability shows. He didn't overact. He didn't overdo it.
He's really good, dude. Like, I hope other producers are watching this and directors are watching this guy.
Yeah.
Like, somebody needs to write some shit for him because his acting is just, we shouldn't be talking about that. When we watch wrestling, we shouldn't be like, oh, their acting was really amazing. But yet he makes you do that. That's how freaking good he is. Yeah. It's back in the day when we used to watch The Rock. Every one of us used to be like, oh my God, how, like, this guy is like a modern day Arthur Fonzarelli. He's the coolest guy in every room he walked in. He's so cool. And then he started doing like Tooth Fairy. And we're like, how hard is it for a director to see what he used to do on SmackDown, totally jabroning people on the mic? He was funny, witty. All the girls wanted to be with him. All the dudes wanted to be him. How hard is it to write for that? It's simple. The blueprint has literally been done for you as the Rock character he plays. Do that, more of that kind of stuff for him. And then they started to write cooler roles for him. Yeah. And then the rest was history. But like when we watch wrestling, we don't sit there and go, oh, wow, well, this guy's an amazing actor.
Right.
Edge is so damn good. He makes you do that.
Yeah.
Because you're right. You're right, Raj.
And one of the great things was that he wasn't, he's natural. He was very natural in this. He wasn't overly doing the unsure, not knowing how to answer. He played it subtly, and he was really good. It really stood out.
Go back and watch like some of my shit from TNA or whatnot, right? And I'm just speaking from my own perspective. I would have been the guy that would have been overdoing it. I would have grabbed it, like going to pretend that there were fans in there. What do you think? What do y'all think? Should I? What do you think? You know what I mean? And totally like overdoing it and making it super hokey, like many wrestlers usually do, and do too much overthinking instead of just relaxing and being natural, which is a frigging skill. I swear to God, it's a skill. And Edge has got it, man. He's got it, man. I'm excited he's back.
Yeah. It reminds me of Bret Hart back in the day where he was the same way. He wouldn't overdo it, so it all seemed real, especially the stuff with him and Shawn, where when Bret would look pissed, he looked like he was legitimately pissed. And, he wasn't like huffing and puffing, Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Jared Wilson, pointing out Edge looked like 10 years younger tonight. Yeah, he got rid of that beard, or he cleaned up a little bit.
I don't know, and this is not fair because I'm getting to that age too, but like he physically looked better at Royal Rumble than he's looked physically, in my opinion. But then when he left off, he didn't have abs like that. He didn't have vascularity like that. He was never a body guy. And here he's back to Royal Rumble, but you kept looking at that patch of gray here.
Right.
And I think that's a horrible thing to say because I shouldn't really have one way or another rhyme or reason as to if somebody's really in good shape or not. But it's hard to ignore it. So I dug that he got rid of it because now it gets it out of there. And now you can just look at the dude's physique and go like, God dang, he put a lot of work in. He's going to be kicking someone's ass now. And yeah, I don't know.
I agree. And I felt that way with Goldberg when he came back is because he looked still, he still looked dominant, but that gray goatee, like if he had just dyed it.
Yes, I agree.
But it doesn't matter. But anyway, that was Raw. Again, there was good stuff on the show with Edge and Orton, some of the Shayna Baszler stuff. Obviously, go back and watch the Becky Lynch. You watch this on fast forward; it's not a bad show.
So it's not. And to be fair, the bookends of this show was very good, very strong.
Yeah.
But it's all that middle stuff, the Humberto stuff. I hope there's better days for Robbie Lashley with MVP. So I've got to look forward to that, hopefully. But the stuff that got us there, it was just, nah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, that was Raw for this week. I know you guys touched on it last night, but Alberto Del Rio was arrested on May the 9th in San Antonio. Some really horrific stuff coming out in this police report. So,
is that where he lives?
Yeah. Yeah, he's in San Antonio. So the police report came out. So Del Rio apparently had been in a relationship with this woman, was accusing him of being unfaithful. The victim, who only speaks Spanish, claims that Del Rio smashed her cell phone and laptop and attempted to burn her passport. The attack started on May the 3rd at 10 p.m. It wasn't reported until a week later, but started at 10 p.m. on May the 3rd and continued till 2:30 p.m. on May the 4th, so till well into the next day. The woman claims that Del Rio choked her and shoved a sock in her mouth to keep her quiet at one point and said she could not breathe while the sock was in her mouth. Said that Del Rio hit her several times in the head that left her feeling woozy and dizzy. And then during the attack, she claims that he sexually assaulted her with his penis and other body parts, and she was adamant that she did not consent to any sexual activity. She said that she's afraid of Del Rio and planned to leave the city as soon as possible and had multiple bruises on her face, arms, legs, and neck. It was noted in the police report she is 5'5", 132 pounds, while Del Rio in the police report was listed at 6'4", 240 pounds. He was released on $50,000 bail. He was also arrested last August due to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and was out on $20,000 bail. So
that's a lot to unpack. Can you really quickly unpack the weapon thing? What was that? What happened?
So last August. There's not much out on that. The police report hasn't been out on what happened last August. It was quiet. We didn't know at the time. It just came out when this came out that he was also arrested last August due to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, but no other details on that.
So we don't know if he just drove down the street and just got out and pulled a gun on somebody versus
how
he used it.
The fact that he was able to get out on $20,000 bail showed that it couldn't be too bad. I mean, it's bad. Okay. Obviously, he got out on this and out on bail for this.
I mean, I don't make any excuses. I don't know him, and I don't really know him at all. Actually, I've only met him one time when I went back to TNA. But it seems like, and again, this is me armchair quarterbacking here, not knowing any facts in this situation. But it seems anytime something happens with him and he gets arrested, there's alcohol involved. There's substance or something. There's something there. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't give you an excuse or a free card to do any of this. Dude, putting a sock in a woman's mouth. Oh my God. That's stuff we see on television, like in terrible horror movies.
Right. Like the worst of the worst bad guys are doing that. Like on a TV show.
Like, oh my God. And I know we got to always let everything process, let the law run its course, right? And see what happens with everything, because these are the alleged charges. Is that how it reads?
Yeah, no? Yeah. These are all the claims that she made. These are all in the police report, so it's in there. But again, it's what she's claimed, and
But he's not been convicted of this, correct?
Right.
Okay. Still, I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
What do you say to that? That is disgusting.
He needs help. I mean, just from what you've been seeing over the years, from when he was
It's
with Paige
escalating.
and the
It's
videos.
escalating.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that is some that's some severe escalation right there.
and it looks like
And
you look at the mug shots, you hear the reports. It's more than alcohol, whatever it is. You know, we can only speculate, but it's
oh,
hopefully something's done before he becomes before something really bad happens. And so, I mean, I guess something really bad already did, but before
that sounds pretty darn close.
yeah.
Supposing she didn't, if what she says, is true, and she couldn't breathe, like, dude, that could have been it right there.
Oh, it's it's sexual assault and assault. So I mean, it's brutal. So,
Do we know?
segue from that?
Is she real quick? Is she okay? Do we know what her status is physically?
She's physically okay because she's talking about leaving the city, and so she, was okay to file the police report, and she had a son or a child, and Del Rio apparently said that he was going to throw the kid in the middle of the road.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Threatening to drop the child off in the middle of the road.
What the hell?
Yeah. So.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like a wimp or anything, but this is horrifying.
It's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, if it's, even if even if he did a little bit of that, I hopefully he gets some time, because that is disgusting.
Yes, that is disgusting. This dude needs some severe help.
Yeah.
It needs to be, depending on what happens with the outcome of it, obviously, but still, just some of these details that you're saying are just, I couldn't even.
Right.
Like, you wouldn't even think of that if you were like a movie director and trying to come up with the worst things you could possibly do to someone, to a woman and whatnot, right?
Yeah. No, they would probably say, no, that's too bad. Like, no one's that bad.
Yes. Nobody's that crazy. No one's
Right.
that nuts to be doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. That is disgusting. And geez Louise.
Yeah. You might have noticed that Money in the Bank last night was a lot shorter than other recent pay-per-view events. Vince McMahon has apparently made the call to shorten pay-per-views, at least in this empty arena era. So, yeah, I mean, the main card was only 2 hours and 24 minutes. So it was like the shortest pay-per-view that wasn't an In Your House or a Tuesday in Texas, I think, in history.
I mean, I don't see a problem with that. I think that's smart. Again, you want the fans in the arena to stick around to buy more stuff, to buy more T-shirts. It gives them more chance to go buy more merch.
Well, I think when the crowds are back, they'll go back to making them longer. But for now, I think it's better shorter, because you see with Raw, you try to add too much or make it too long, it just feels like a chore.
It all blends. So when you see Drew in the ring, even as much as we like him, even him, and I don't care if it was him versus Hulk Hogan, after the third hour, we're working into that third hour now, it all the painting, if you will, if it's a big painting, it's a big canvas, it just is the same damn picture. It was what it feels like to me every single match, because the aesthetic looks way too similar no matter what they do. They did, if you looked at the timing of the show tonight, Raj, they did throw backstage more than they did last time on Raw and the week before as well, I noticed. But the aesthetic back there isn't changing enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's the difference of what AEW, in my opinion, has done differently. They've thrown the vignettes. They've thrown to dudes randomly outside. They've thrown to, do you know what I mean? It just seemed a lot more movement because of that, their show goes by much faster to me. Yes, I know it's 2 hours, but their show doesn't feel 2 hours to me. It doesn't drag to me.
Right. Before this whole thing started, there were many weeks where I thought Raw was the better show, with a lot of the Edge and Orton stuff, like where I thought it was the best show of the week. But now, with how long it is, Bruce Bennett asking why not shorten Raw. They contractually can't. So they have to do 3 hours every week on USA. If they breach that contract, they lose that, that big TV deal with USA. Not lose it, but it would cut down the money that they're bringing in, and their biggest money generator is TV.
All right, really quick. Do you think if they were to deal out with USA and say, hey, look, if we can let's run 4 2-hour episodes in a row, and let's see if the number changes. If we're able to improve our ratings Would you be cool if we did that permanently?
Well, they would probably have to like double their rating because to make up for that lost
To make the
hour,
difference?
yeah,
Okay.
it would. And even then, because Raw is really their only hit now, and so they are so desperate on that Raw rating. So that extra hour, just having that extra hour of hit TV.
What do you mean it's their only hit? What? Oh, you mean USA?
Yeah, USA.
For USA, Raw is their only hit right
Right.
now. Okay.
With Fox, it's a different story. Fox, SmackDown's in last place now, and it's like last place in the demo, which they weren't planning on that at the beginning. I mean, you saw the interviews with the Fox execs who were talking about how great SmackDown is in the demo, and now they're in last place. Obviously, they probably wouldn't be in the last place if they had fans in the arenas. So I can't
You know what I'd be
see
doing?
Fox doing anything anytime soon.
I would throw as much money as humanly possible to get CM Punk's ass back in the ring. I don't care what it costs. They've got to go for shock at this point. They've got to start going for shock and do whatever they got to get bigger talents to come in.
As strange as it sounds, I'd get CM Punk on commentary. I think he would lift that show because he's not going to make a difference that much in ratings, I wouldn't think, right now with no crowd. He'll make a little bit right off the bat, but that's about it. But I think having him throughout the show.
What will do it? What's going to increase the rating?
I think adding some fans to the stands, getting some noise, because you see AEW went up last week. I think NXT they've also kind of hit their bottom. They're not dropping every week, so I think. And last week I thought that was the best looking show of this empty arena era was Dynamite. Where they had the fireworks outside and everything.
Definitely was. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Why are they not copying a little bit of that? They've been copying other stuff they did. Why not just copy this part? What's so hard about this?
I don't know, because they're filming in the same state, so they're clearly allowed to, and it's not like WWE.
Definitely allowed to.
Right. It's not like they're too worried about safety because they jumped on continuing filming right off the bat. So I honestly think a lot of it is they don't want to seem like they're copying AEW.
Can I just point something out before we leave?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really surprised, although it was just announced tonight about Becky's pregnancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time anyone knew about anybody outside of that company knew about it, right?
Yeah.
Was tonight on Raw?
Yeah.
Okay. I will be surprised if the media does not jump on WWE a little bit for continuing to do their filmings and tapings while there was a woman there on their roster pregnant.
I don't think she has been on any of the TV since she found out she was pregnant.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So they did. I think they handled it well because that's what everyone was wondering is why hasn't Becky been on? She hasn't wrestled. She's only been in like the video packages for her 24/7 special.
I am so freaking beyond excited for that. Oh my god, I'm so excited for them.
Yeah.
You already know their stuff is going to turn upside down for the better. They're gonna so cool. So happy for her.
Yeah. And we'll take this last super chat. Baby Maharaja, thanks for the $5 super chat, saying not usually a Becky fan, but really enjoyed her promo. Shayna and Jinder's promos were good too. Corbin, Lashley, Jinder, potential rivals for Drew. Absolutely.
Baby Maharaja, I agree. Baby Maharaja, I agree with every single thing you said.
Yeah. Well, Corbin, definitely. We're seeing that next week.
Yep.
All right. Well, Matt, that about does it for this week. Yeah, we kind of flew by. That was pretty fast.
Yes, sir. But I think we covered it. The show wasn't as bad when we talked about it as what I first was texting you. But that was before Edge. I was texting you, so to be fair.
I agree. And it just feels so long there in the middle. And then it wasn't as bad. Just make those small changes, WWE. Come on.
Please.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll be back Wednesday night. It'll be Mr. Matt Morgan, Glenn Rubenstein, and Justin LeBar reviewing Dynamite and NXT. I'll be here on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern doing a Saturday Night's Main Event watch-along. It's the second Saturday Night's Main Event in 1987 with the Battle Royal where Andre the Giant threw Hulk Hogan out like a piece of trash. And then Randy Savage versus George Animal Steel. It's an awesome episode. It's fun. It's short. We just do a watch-along, take some questions, and then Friday we'll be back after SmackDown. So thanks again, everyone, for joining in, and thank you for supporting the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.